I mean, it's ridiculous. We're at the President of the United States threatening, encouraging Thom Hartmann to arrest Gavin Newsom, a sitting governor, sending the Marines in,
Right.
which are as unnecessary as the National Guard, taking over our National Guard. And Dean, as usual, it's all illegal, right?
I hope so. Look, first of all, Thom Hartmann has no power. He's a border czar. It's a created position.
Right.
I look forward to the Nuremberg-type trials that we're going to have for Thom Hartmann and Kristi Noem and Stephanie Miller. Not Stephanie Miller.
What?
Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller.
How dare you?
Not
Oh,
Stephanie-
see, I'm going to get swept up by accident. I'll be like, I am
Look.
not Stephen Miller.
Like Stephanie Miller, that's his drag name, is Stephanie Miller. I'm sorry about that. And Trump, too.
No
We
due
need-
process. I'm just going to get snatched up with no way to prove that I'm not Stephen Miller. Okay.
We
go-
need a Nuremberg-type trial for these guys.
Yes.
Yeah, is it illegal? Well, Trump incited a terrorist attack on the Capitol on January 6th. The guy attempted a coup. The guy's convicted of 34 felonies. A lot of things Donald Trump has done is illegal. The question is, will there be any punishment, or will the court stop this at all? And AG Bonta in your state, Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, who's a really effective Attorney General, filed a lawsuit yesterday to get an injunction against the troops, the National Guard troops, in the streets. And we'll see if the court acts. I imagine Trump might pull the guard out before that actually gets a court date.
Right.
Yeah, I see that.
Because he's a
coward.
He's a giant.
He's a taco.
See, that always
Yeah.
backs down.
He's
He's a taco, exactly.
By the way, in fairness, the reason they haven't picked up felon Trump is the police are looking for someone 6'3" and 220 pounds. So
Yeah, he doesn't fit that description.
It is right. But look, they're sending in the Marines, and we're not sure where the Marines really are right now because it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
There's no video of them. But just so everybody knows, there are 24,000 National Guard troops in California. You have the biggest National Guard.
Yeah.
They've only deployed 4,000. They could have deployed more if they need them. Trump picking the Marines has nothing to do with protection. It has everything to do with intimidation.
Yeah.
He's trying to
Of
send the
course.
U.S. Marines, who are war killers, who are trained effectively, and we want them to be
kill.
war killers, onto the streets of America, where all they know is kill. I mean, that's their job.
Yeah.
We want them to be that. We don't want them to be that against Americans, but Trump does, and that's what's so frightening.
and they are not legally allowed to do law enforcement. What are they here for? I mean, there is a posse comitatus act. But again, we keep trying to fight one illegal thing at a time. So I love the CNN legal analyst said his deployment of the National Guard, first of all, seizing control of our National Guard against our will. He said it's we're entering unknown territory legally. Aren't we always? He said the point of the answer is we don't know because this particular statute has only ever been invoked one prior time in American history. So we're really in unknown territory here. So what do you think happens with the
Because
California
Trump
lawsuit?
he did not invoke the Insurrection Act as of yet. We don't have any document that he signed invoking the Insurrection Act. We're waiting. He deployed these troops under a federal law. It's Title 10 U.S.C. Section 12406. I read A.G. Bonta's lawsuit, and in that he notes only one president ever invoked it. It's not the LBJ thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
It was Richard Nixon
Yes.
during a postal strike,
Oh,
and they
that's
sent
right.
out the National Guard to do postal delivery. There was LBJ. It was a different section sending out, and ironically enough, it's the opposite of Trump. They send out the National Guard against the governor's objections to protect civil rights activists.
Yeah.
In this case, Donald Trump did it over Governor Newsom's objection to protect the white supremacy. I mean, it's the exact opposite of what LBJ
Yes,
did it to
and
protect
he's
for
clearly
equality, and this for white supremacy.
provoked this in the first place, and now he's escalating. Right? He's not just our National Guard, now the Marines. I mean, what's next? Insurrection Act, martial law? Like you can tell, like he wants escalation, right?
But I should mention that I was booked for a USO show at the LA Pavilion. I'm going to be down there with John Fugelsang. We'll be doing stand-up. We got booked by the USO.
Cool.
Wow.
Trump's doing it. No, we're nothing. I'm kidding about that. I'm like, okay, if they're bringing the troops in, they need entertainment, right? So maybe the USO will book me finally.
Because I think of you.
I'll make it
I think
on
of you
Sunset Boulevard.
I think
I'll
of
be
you
performing.
as the Muslim Bob Hope. You know what I mean? I really do.
That's right. That'd be good. I'm the Muslim Bob Hope. I love it. Look, it's illegal. The thing is, it's not criminal. It's illegal. So the courts have to get involved and say what Donald Trump is doing is a violation. That's why Newsom wants an injunction. That's why they're in federal court. They filed yesterday. I hope there's a hearing the next day or two about this. I wonder if a court's going to get involved, though, to say a president cannot send troops out because it's never been decided. It'll have to go to the Supreme Court. So they might rule in favor of the governor, but then say we have to put the ruling on stay and let it go to the Supreme Court to decide it. We know what the Supreme Court's going to do. They want Donald Trump to be a king. The Republican Supreme Court already did that last year with the immunity. So we have this perfect storm of authoritarianism and a fascist, aspiring fascist leader in the White House.
Yeah. Our attorney general said, let me be clear, there is no invasion, there is no rebellion. The president is trying to manufacture chaos and crisis on the ground for his own political ends. Obviously, they're arguing it illegally infringed on Newsom's role of he is commander-in-chief of the California National Guard, period.
Yep.
I mean, we just kept saying, can you imagine if Joe Biden seized the Alabama National Guard? What would have happened?
I can only imagine. And in the lawsuit, Bonta points out that Newsom needs a National Guard. You're heading into fire season. You need the National Guard for issues with fire. There might be a natural disaster. We don't know. And by taking these troops away from Newsom, you make it harder for him to do his job as the commander-in-chief of the National Guard of California. So Bonta laid that out really well in the complaint that they filed. And I think that it's an easy read. You can see it online, folks. It's like 20 pages. But read that part. It's the most compelling part. This isn't politics. This is about the lives of people in California. You're less safe because Trump took away the National Guard that you might need for fire, for safety, for any kind of national disaster, whatever might happen, that you need the National Guard.
He let us burn, and then he tried to drown us with reservoir water. I mean, it's just, I feel like we have a restraining order against the President of the United States, like he's our abusive ex. I mean, it's okay. I mean,
he's trying to turn California into Harvard University. He's making you the target. He went after Harvard, which had to do with, at the beginning, whatever it was about was gone. It was about punishing and destroying Harvard. The same way Viktor Orban destroyed the big liberal university in Hungary. That's the point. Grab control. So you do it as an example to silence other universities. He's doing this to California. You're now his go-to. They're going to do one thing after the other, including freezing grants to your state, which they were rumored on Friday. And I think that's an important conversation we have to have about withholding federal tax dollars going forward.
Thank you. Well, let's get to your piece on that in a second. But Newsom just said he's not for peacemaking. He's here for war. He wants a civil war on the streets of America, not just here. We talked to our friends in Chicago. I'm like, you're next, probably. He said he's testing the boundaries by nationalizing the federal guard. Heck, his own Kristi Noem was a year ago sitting there with Sean Hannity saying it's outrageous Biden's considering nationalizing the guard in my great state. Kristi Noem, what about state sovereignty and state rights? And where the hell is Hannity now? Where the hell is Kristi Noem? They're out there just singing the siren songs of chaos, trying to sow chaos, putting our democracy at risk. These are the acts of authoritarians, period, full stop. He said this is Donald Trump's mess. What you see on your nightly news is Donald Trump's making, and now we've got to clean up this mess. So here we are, right? Up is down, black is white, as usual with Trump.
Yeah, and I think that Governor Newsom, I'm glad that he used the word civil war. Donald Trump wants a civil war, or really a true rebellion and insurrection, so that he can send the military out. He can also arguably suspend habeas corpus, which he doesn't have the power to do. It's in Article 1 of the Constitution. That's for Congress. But he will try to do it because Lincoln did it during the Civil War and say, we're suspending habeas corpus, which means they can round up hundreds of American citizens, thousands of us, and put us in the camp that we've always dreamed of, Stephanie.
Yes.
And we can finally be there
Well,
together,
we just hope that
us.
Muslims are next to lesbians. We're thinking because L and M, we probably are.
You would be close.
Yeah, the lesbian block is right next to the Muslim block.
And Ron Hartmann will definitely be in that camp.
Yeah.
So for other reasons, Ron should be in the camp. No,
just
gonna be...
Jews, liberals, others. I just love this. On Face the Nation Sunday, Kristi Noem explained her reversal, her hypocrisy, which he means by reversal is hypocrisy.
Right.
She said, Governor Newsom has proven that he makes bad decisions. This is someone that Corey Lewandowski, while they were both married to other people, and also shot a puppy in the face. So she's...
Yep.
She said President Trump knows he makes bad decisions. Really? Gavin Newsom makes bad decisions.
And that's why Trump said he wants to put your governor in jail. And they asked him why. And he said he's done bad things. He's a nice guy, but he went over budget on the railroad.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's
saying.
You can fly.
Because you can fly to San Francisco for $2 is what he said.
Yeah.
And then you could also, he talked about that he should never run for office. Him running for office is a crime. And we're like, nothing makes sense. This is a man who's got cognitive decline, who'll be 79 on Saturday, who doesn't know what's going on. In 2020, he said point blank in an interview, he could not send the National Guard without the consent of the governor. That clip is playing all over now. It was an interview, I think, Anderson Cooper.
Yep, I saw
Now, his brain is addled where Stephen Miller and those guys tell him, hey, you can. And he goes, oh, okay, I can? give me ice cream and a cheeseburger or whatever you want. That's it.
Well,
He doesn't.
Let's go to your. I shouldn't read your pieces because I highlight the entire thing, and then it becomes Steffi's book club, and then I have to read your piece to you,
like
and so I'm not going to do that. But go read it. We've linked to it. Just because you brought up a tantalizing. You said blue states should legally withhold federal taxes from Trump's regime. I think Newsom said something like that, like, "Oh, okay, you're going to withhold all money to California. How about we don't send you the $83 billion that we send every year?"
Can either of those legally be done, though?
That's the question.
Chris, legally.
Well,
That's
I
so
mean,
cute.
Laws
That's
don't
crazy.
matter. We're post-law, Chris. Haven't you watched Trump? Look, I had the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, on yesterday. He's my friend. And, they said, look, we can look into it. They're not sure. Is there a way for the state and individuals that living in blue states to say, we can't be a part of this. We can't be complicit in the destruction of the United States by Donald Trump and his violations of U.S. and international law. So can we create a trust, let's say a legal trust in the state where we pay our federal dollars there?
Okay.
So we're still paying our federal obligation,
Right.
but the state holds it, and the state says, we'll give it to the federal government on the condition that they comply with certain requirements.
Okay.
And if they don't, we're going to keep the tax dollars for our people.
Yeah.
And so that's the point. Newsom raised the idea, and your speaker of your assembly raised it as well on Friday, and that's why I wrote my article. I said, this has got to be discussed now. We should strangle this regime in terms of money. It's the blue states that fund the government.
Yeah.
Let's hold our money back. Let them do what they want to do without our money so we're not complicit. Because I view us as being complicit by funding this.
Yeah. Sidebar, Counselor, is Keith Ellison, does he go to the Muslim section of the Gulag with us, or is he in the black person section?
I think it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
got it.
there
I
you
got
go.
it.
So like the alternate.
I want to get the rules down before we. Okay. And our lesbians and gay guys separate because Chris is going to want to
Tuesday,
be with
Thursday.
me 24/7.
Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to
Tuesday,
be in the
Thursday,
same
we
pen as
visit
her.
you.
You don't want to be in the electric lesbian zoo?
No,
Okay. You say it best. You start out with "We're at war." Donald Trump calling up the National Guard to occupy parts of Los Angeles over the objections of the governor to silence protesters is the latest example of this. You just said Trump is waging a multifaceted war upon us. It's just in just the first 5 months of his term, we've seen him arrest a judge, a sitting member of Congress, the mayor of Newark for daring to defy him. And so, again, as you say, like whatever, law firms, university, he's targeting anybody that is against him. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Right. And my point is that please don't look at any one action of Donald Trump in a vacuum. It is part of the dictator, the authoritarian playbook. I'm sure you've had experts on. I've had numerous fascism experts on, from Jason Stanley to Guy Marshall Theresis to Stephen Levitsky from Harvard, all in the last month. We've gone through it. They are checking box after box. 2 weeks ago, I had various experts on who warned, if he uses the military on U.S. soil, we've crossed into another area, and here we are.
We
That
cross
was
a
2 weeks
new
ago they
red
warned.
line every day, Dean. You're absolutely right. I said Friday, I'm like, oh, he's not just threatening the Marines. He's going to send the Marines. And here we are. I mean, so by the
Look,
way,
if they,
go ahead.
Look, during the Civil War, would the northern states send tax dollars to the Confederacy headed by Jefferson Davis when they were waging a war on the North? Of course not. And I know that analogy, it's not perfect, but it's close. They are, Fort Sumner, 1861, the war began when the Confederates attacked Fort Sumner. I believe historians might look back at what happened this weekend with Donald Trump as the beginning of a new civil war. But the difference is it's up to Trump. He can stop this. I hope he goes Taco Trump. Back out,
exactly.
Trump. Do not go forward.
Yeah.
Because he can get ugly, and he wants to get ugly.
I love when maggots like, oh, they're flying flags from other countries outside the ICE detention centers. Like, really, the people that fly Nazi flags and Confederate flags are concerned.
Well, on January 6th, they were flying Trump flags all
thank
over
you,
the place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Real quick, you got to go, but you wrote another piece. Democrats must demand the release of the Epstein files and impeach Bondi if she refuses. Every Democrat needs to. I mean, the betting pool is against. That's what he's distracting against. Is Elon Musk right? And the Epstein bombshell.
There's no doubt. And I go through in the article all the connections over the years between Epstein and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump lying, saying I was never on the plane. And they found out in the recent trial with Maxwell that he was on at least 7 times. The
Yes.
pilot testified. We know they're close. I don't know if Trump committed crimes and it's in that file, but we know they're very close. And Trump doesn't want us to see what's in that file. That's common sense.
Yeah.
We should see it.
Well, if you're a homeowner, you need to listen to this. In today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they take out loans using your equity or even sell your property. And you won't even know it's happened until you get a collection or a foreclosure notice. So when's the last time you checked your home title? If your answer is never, like mine was, you need to do something about it right now. That's why I have partnered with Home Title Lock so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Go to HometitleLock.com/Stephanie. You will get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Find out why I trust Home Title Lock. Protect yourself like I did. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. Go to HometitleLock.com/Stephanie. One more time, HometitleLock.com/Stephanie.